Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. I've talked about it. If I've said it once, I'll say it again on this channel, and I'll probably say it again in the future. I am a DC fanboy, and I was one of those people out there that was cautiously optimistic about James Gunn's future helm of the DC universe. Now, I am still cautiously optimistic about the Superman movie out there. We'll see how things end up going. But as of right now, boys and girls, the first entry we got in the first glimpse into the new DCU under the helm of James Gunn and Peter Safran was Creature Commandos, boys and girls, and I did watch it. We did a watch along over there on Rumble where Sunker Maiden and I actually watched the very first 2 episodes. And needless to say, boys and girls, this is not a good way to start the series out there. So today, boys and girls, we're going to go over some of the highlights of the issues with this show, along with the problems, the mistakes that James Gunn has made by writing this series, and of course, having this stuff come out right now, as obviously the American people and the Western civilization as a whole, the culture has decided to go against the kind of insane nonsense that James Gunn decided to go into literally in the very first 30 seconds of the series. And ladies and gentlemen, if this is what the rest of the series is going to be, this is going to be a hot, disastrous dumpster fire of the kind of garbage that we were worried about and kind of some people were very much expecting. And guess what? I'll admit, Common Nerd was wrong. I thought this show might actually end up being good, but besides just the first 30 seconds of this series, holy cow, boys and girls, it is an absolute mess. This is not the direction you want to go in this kind of series, outside this kind of group coming together, this basically kind of repeat and rinse of stuff that we have seen James Gunn do time and time in the past. And it is obviously very apparent. I believe James Gunn said he wrote this whole series out in like a couple of weeks. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, that is very much apparent when it comes to the new Creature Commandos series from James Gunn and what is now giving us the first glimpse into what the future of DC will give us. And boys and girls, if this is going to be par for the course, needless to say, DC is going to down like a disastrous dumpster fire, just like the rest of Hollywood has right now. And boys and girls, Warner Brothers is already broke, and this is the last thing they need. So we've got a few different articles over here that we're going to go through, because obviously we can't do like a proper review for this kind of series to where we can actually like jump through all the different glimpses and show you clips, because Warner Brothers' copyright system is absolutely insane. Whoever they hired for all that kind of stuff is absolutely nuts. So we can't actually do that. If you guys want to go check out our review and our watch along, make sure you go subscribe to us over there or follow us over there on Rumble at The Common Nerd. Over there, you can check all of that stuff out. You can see where Sunker and I reviewed the entire series. You can see our entire full thoughts and live reactions, plus watch the first couple of episodes along with us, because we are doing an actual transformative thing. It is completely and totally fair use, but because of the bots over here on YouTube, we can't do that kind of thing. So we've got a couple of articles over here. They're going to go over all of this kind of stuff. The Bounding into Comics article is really, really good because it gives us the actual legit history of the Sons of Themyscira, which they have completely and totally bastardized and changed in this series as well. And of course, I have to give credit where credit is due, because over here on cosmicbook.news, our dear sweet Matt McGloin was the first one to call this out literally the day this series came out. He saw it. He watched it first thing in the morning, and of course he wrote an article right away afterwards calling all of this kind of stuff. And guess what, boys and girls, this isn't exactly going over very well with the fans either. So color us shocked there. Your first 30 seconds in a series was bashing the side that literally is currently winning the culture war right now, and it's not going over very well for the fans, plus all of the rest of my thoughts on all this kind of stuff. So that's exactly what we're going to get into today in this video, boys and girls. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you are not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Did you watch Creature Commandos? Were you willing to give this thing a shot to see what James Gunn was going to pull up to? Did you enjoy it, or were you disappointed in it like so many other fans seemingly are as well? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. So to be completely and totally fair on this, even though Matt McGloin is calling this stuff out, he did give the new series like an 8 out of 10 for the new episodes. Me personally, I would give it more like a 6 out of 10, because besides all of the stuff we're about to get into, all of the changes and everything they'll say they have made to the Sons of Themyscira and how they have used them to essentially own the right wingers, you're owning the chuds with this kind of stuff. Needless to say, beside all of the kind of woke propaganda that is in this series within the first 30 seconds, it is disjointed, it is a mess. The pacing is is terrible. Instead of seeing this group come together and actually do something to kind of show that they can actually be a team in any way, shape, or form, literally what we get in the second episode is, spoiler alert, is nothing more than the bride's, Frankenstein's bride's backstory. And boys and girls, holy cow, the insane way they go with that. I mean, there's literally necrophilia in that episode. It makes Frankenstein's monster look like just nothing more than an absolute simp, just chum out there who's crazy and insane. And you know what? It's all his fault that the bride feels like this. It's all his fault. It's all Dr. Frankenstein's fault, even though she fell in love with him and literally boinked him on her operation table. Yes, boys and girls, I am not kidding you. They have literally made it where Dr. Frankenstein, instead of having his wife killed, and that's the reason why, everybody's all mad at Frankenstein and everything else. No, instead, the reason why Frankenstein is mad, the reason why he killed his creator is because his creator boinked the bride of Frankenstein. Yes, boys and girls, that's literally what they give you for the backstory. And that's literally one of those situations where you don't ever get to see this team do any good together. You don't actually get to see them go out there and like be heroes in any way, shape, or form. But instead, what we get for the first episode is nothing more than like leftover gag after leftover gag. From literally, like, it's like, oh, Weasel is literally only in there as nothing more than a punchline, boys and girls. So if any of you out there that were fans of Weasel, I mean, they literally treat him like a dog in the series, which to a certain degree is kind of how Weasel actually is. But literally, it's just like, ooh, let's turn to Weasel. Oh, look at that. Weasel's licking his balls. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Isn't that so funny? No, it's fucking not. It's old, it's cheesy, it's cringy, and it's just really, really bad, boys and girls. So needless to say, this series is linking out to be nothing more than a disjointed garbage pile of mess. And the problem with the Sons of Themyscira thing, it's not like it was just some one-off right in the beginning where it was like a 30 seconds, oh, I'm gonna own the chuds. No, boys and girls, they are literally going to be the main protagonist throughout the entire series. And I mean, literally, not only, we're going to get into their historical background here in a second because Spencer McCooley did a really good job of breaking down the actual history of these characters, and it's actually a very tragic story when it comes to the Sons of Themyscira out there. And instead, James Gunn decided to turn the Sons of Themyscira into nothing more than a gag of owning the chuds, because guess what? And I'm not kidding, they literally have guys, which, by the way, these guys in these quote unquote guys in this series sound like legitimate soy boy beta male bitches that we would actually be roasting out there on Twitter, aka X, boys and girls, because they're like, oh, I mean, they literally sound just like, oh, these women, they're so, I mean, the guys literally have a lisp. I'm not kidding you. They literally have a lisp, and they go, well, it's this anti-woman, but it's, these feminist women and their agenda out there, and that's why we're pushing back against Themyscira, and that's why we want to go after the Amazons and yada yada yada. And it's just, and they literally say woke. It's just their woke agenda with all of this kind of stuff, and we're going to push back against it and yada 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 because they're anti-men. I'm not kidding you. This is the first 30 seconds of the series. Okay, they literally do this in the first 30 seconds. This is how the show kicks off when we are introduced to Amanda Waller and Rick Flag Sr. having a conversation. This is the big threat. The Sons of Themyscira, which are nothing more than literally their own warped satirical version of what they believe all of us out there that have been pushing back against this woke agenda, all of this cult nonsense that's infected all of our entertainment and all of our literature out there. Like literally, because we are pushed back against this stuff. And by the way, we're winning because it turns out, yes, common sense does still reign supreme. 2 + 2 does still equal 4, and God is still on his throne in heaven, because all of that, they have bet on this woke agenda out there in Hollywood, and they have lost billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars in the entertainment industry, whether it be gaming, whether it be Hollywood, whether it be Disney, Marvel, or any of the rest of these people out there, or Star Wars. I mean, literally, they've wasted like $30 billion on Star Wars trying to turn it into a girls brand, because guess what? Kathleen Kennedy said she could do it. And of course, George Lucas picked her. Well, guess what? It's the exact same kind of nonsense, because the Sons of Themyscira will be a running gag throughout the entire series. And like I said, it's not just that as well. You have Rick Flag Sr. to be made out to seem like he's actually going to be a good guy and a stand-up dude, because this princess, who is just for some reason just all kinds of like all over his balls and just wanting to jump his bones like something hardcore, just making her look like out to be just like a total tramp. All right, on top of all of that as well. So you get him in the first episode, he's like, no, I can't do this. This isn't appropriate. This isn't the time for that. I need to be here for this mission to protect them. All for, in the second episode, the second she catches him, the second he gets blown up and messed up for a little bit, she's in there doing his wounds. They're doing like literally like the whole It's literally a ripoff of the Indiana Jones scene, right, where she's cleaning up his wounds, right, and then they kiss and all of that kind of stuff. It's literally nothing more than a ripoff of that, which I didn't even realize until we started talking about this right now. And literally, all of his morals, all of his values, all of his stead worth goes right out the window, all to have a literal college level or E3 Mafia and under, kind of E4 Mafia and under, kind of literal military. If you know what that means, if you're a military guy out there, you get what I'm saying. It's literally a gag where all of his boys, all of the rest of the Creature Commando folks are literally outside the bathroom door listening to them bang. And it doesn't just go on for like half a second. It goes on for a minute. And he's got these buddies of his even to stop somebody from going in there because there's a major attack going on right now and they need to get them out of there so they can go out there and fight the villain. No. His boys hold him off so that way Rick Flag and her can finish. I'm not kidding you. So not only did he destroy any kind of actual moral standing that character had, and whether it's accurate to the comic books or not as far as Rick Flag Sr. being an absolute hoe bag, maybe that's the case. I don't know. I am just your humble common nerd. I haven't read all of this stuff. I'm not an expert on all these kind of things, which is why I go to sources like Bounding into Comics to give you the real truth behind what the Sons of Themyscira were actually supposed to be, and much unlike the absolute nothing more than woke adaptation trying to own the chuds in the first 30 seconds of this series. So from our dear sweet friend Spencer McCooley over there Bounding into Comics, James Gunn's Creature Commandos puts modern audience spin on comic book canon, turns Sons of Themyscira from tribe of exiled Amazon men into anti-woke militia. And like I said over here, Matt McGloin is the one that started this off. So before we get into the history of the Sons of Themyscira, let's give Matt's thoughts on this as well. James Gunn kicks off the DCU by trolling right-wingers. This is pretty hilarious, as James Gunn's chip on his shoulder happens to be the size of a boulder. I was also wondering why all the shill sites have been shilling for Gunn like they have been. Now it makes sense. Probably explains the Rotten Tomatoes score. Yeah, top critics, 100%. These are all your mainstream legacy outlets out there. The legacy outlets, they're not mainstream anymore. We are the mainstream. We are the media now. And literally, all of them, this is why they all loved this show. Because within the first 30 seconds, it's trolling the right-wingers. It's owning those chuds, those sexists, those phobes, yada, yada, yada. Oh, good jobs, James Gunn. Oh, it was so funny, yada, yada, yada. Except literally this could not come at a worse possible time in the current culture war and the current climate that we find this culture in right now. Because guess what? This ideology has lost. It has cost them billions of dollars. Not down the night. The only saving grace James Gunn has from this is an animated series on HBO Max, right? Which means the numbers aren't going to be great. A lot of people aren't going to see this series, and their first entry into the DCU will be James Gunn's Superman. So we'll see how all of that goes. But needless to say, this is not a good start and could not come at a worse time in the culture right now. So the first two episodes of Creature Commandos are now available, which is the start of the DCU. Now that Gunn has put himself in charge of a studio, he can't help himself as he fires back against the right-wingers that got him fired from Disney. Gunn was eventually rehired. That's when Warner Brothers picked him up. He did Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, yada, 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 Guardians of the Galaxy, turned to Warner Brothers, yada, 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 yada. I actually wasn't expecting this, to be honest, so it caught me by surprise. It did me too. I was hoping to be cautiously optimistic about this series, and guess what? All of that went right out the window in the first 30 seconds of the first episode. I figured as Gunn was in charge, he wouldn't want to alienate any of the audience, especially considering how all that stuff has been a big failure for the past 5+ years. Maybe those rumors saying Zaslav is prepping to sail to Universe Comcast are right. So what does Gunn care? Maybe he'll get his revenge through DC. This could explain Gunn's Lantern. Yikes, which I got a lot of hate. I got so much hate on that video for me calling out those rumors and saying if this is the direction they go, this will be really, really bad. But of course, I'm the bigot. I'm the phobe. It's like, oh, I don't know, this stuff doesn't sell. It's almost like I want these companies to succeed and actually do well and give us good quality stories that don't hurt a bunch of agenda-driven drivel nonsense. I know, weird concept. It's like, I'm the fucking bad guy. Oops, my bad. I just want your company to succeed and make money, and I want entertainment that I can enjoy and actually praise and not fucking roast all the goddamn time. So what happens is in the first 2 minutes of the first episode is that Amanda Waller and Rick Flag Sr. are at the Belle Reve watching news on the TV and a report about how the Sons of Themyscira cross into Polkistan, an Eastern European country, and invasion is underway. Wait, the Sons of Themyscira? Okay, so it turns out the sons of Themyscira actually work for Cersei. Note it's pronounced Cersei, not Cersei. The news anchor guy says that Cersei claims to be the rightful heir to the throne of perhaps mythical, perhaps real, all-female island nation of Themyscira. Note use of all female. The report goes on to state that once the downfall of Polkistan is achieved, Cersei has promised the sons of Themyscira she will lead them to conquer Themyscira. The sons are showing rioting sets with the guns, etc. The blonde dude, see above, who looks like a beach bum, is interviewed and says, I mean, seriously, Themyscira is like the sickest place ever. And then you'll tell me, oh, dude, only women can live there? What? That's so sexist, bro. Literally, I am not going very far off about exactly the way these guys sound in the series. Don't believe me? Go watch our Rumble episode because, yeah, it's this bad. It's not even good writing. It's trash and it's cheap shot. And once again, now we know why James Gunn was able to write this so quickly. Another member of the Sons of Themyscira member is interviewed who looks like an incel. He says, word is they have the most incredible waterfalls. I have this question for the whole woke feminists out there. Why do only girls get such cool waterfalls? All over the world, our rights, our men are being denigrated. Yes, that's literally in the first 2 minutes of this episode. I am not kidding you. This is exactly how the entire series starts off. And needless to say, boys and girls, this is not a good direction to go considering the climate. And literally, this is what it goes on to. Amanda Waller turns on the TV and Rick Flag Sr. says, what a bunch of clowns. Walter adds, dangerous clouds. And literally, it's one of those situations out there. And this is one of the things he's so incensed. So Cersei recruits an army of American incels that were there on January 6th, right? She recruited Americans to join her and fight away over and Eastern Europe? Yep, that makes loads of sense. Oh, yes, boys and girls, it totally makes sense. You'd be able to recruit a bunch of right-wingers out there in the United States to go fight in some European war. What? Like we're literally the ones screaming, get us the hell out of all of these countries and shut down all these pointless, stupid wars that are literally nothing more than protecting the elites' money washing scheme, like money laundering schemes over there in all of these countries. I mean, literally, that's what we're screaming about. And all of a sudden, we're the ones that are going to get recruited by some crazy female to run off over there. Now, I will give them this. If Cersei is brainwashing them, all of this makes a lot more sense. But as of right now, there is literally zero sign that that is the case and that is not these guys' independent theories on all this kind of nonsense. Needless to say, this is not a good sign. So who are the Sons of Themyscira in actual reality? Well, their backstory is quite tragic. And that's what we've got over here on Bounding Into Comics, because this is absolutely a tragic story. So you go over here right now, and we can go into all the details. But at the end of the day, this is the important part. The Sons of Themyscira is the name given to the many male children born to the Amazons following their regular forced mating raids, for a lack of better term, on unsuspecting sailors from the world of men. As the Amazon culture only allows for women to live on Paradise Island, those children unlucky enough to be born male would be taken away from their mothers and subsequently disposed of by having their newly breathing bodies thrown into the sea. Needless to say, like I said, this is pretty dark. This is very, very tragic. But of course, we can't have that. No. You can't have the women looking bad. Now, can you? Oh, no. Even though you literally have your main protagonist as being an evil female villain. But no. All the rest of the Amazonians are great. There's nothing savage about their culture in any way, shape, or form. No. We can't have that because of women power. And though the Amazons came to accept this regular infanticide as a necessary evil, the Greek god Hephaestus did not. Seeking to save the young boys from their fates, the blacksmith proceeded to strike a bargain with the all-female society, agreeing to craft them regular shipments of their legendary weapons in exchange for their quote-unquote failed offspring, all of whom would proceed to give him a home and a purpose within his forge. Now, obviously, this is one of those storylines that did not last very long because obviously that paints a very bad look on Themyscira and all the ladies over there, now doesn't it? So needless to say, these guys did not stick around very long. There's only very brief glimpses and talks about them throughout the latter time. Like Jason is the only one ever later referenced, and it's literally only in a very sidestep way. This actually never ever comes up again. But here's the thing about it. This would be the reality, because even if they wanted to only have females, unless they were blessed by the gods or something like that, to only ever bear females, this would undoubtedly happen. And hey, at the end of the day, where do the boys go? Well, now the boys are a bunch of simp chuds out there. And needless to say, the audiences aren't exactly reacting the best to this either out there, because although the score's not horrendous, it's not as bad as, I don't know, Star Wars The Acolyte, it is still not good, and especially for your first entry into the DC universe. Because Creature Commandos' Rotten Tomatoes score is lukewarm reception from fans. So at the time that Matt McGloin wrote this, it was currently at an 81%. Now, if we jump over here now, it is currently now at a 78%. Not a great start to things. And yep, still at a 78% as of the time of this recording. But of course, the critics all loved it. I mean, 100%. When is the last time a James Gunn project ever got 100% from the critics? Oh well, we certainly know why now, don't we? And needless to say, the fans aren't exactly happy. A 78% out of 1,000 ratings is not exactly a great thing, especially because when things are good out there, fans have no problem looking over some of the smaller flaws out there, some of the bad storytelling and yada, 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 to give you something like that out there, to give you like a 95 or 98% Rotten Tomato score. We've seen that kind of stuff happen in the past when you actually give us a good quality story. A 78% from an audience. And look at the other problem about this too. That's only 1,000 ratings. Normally these things have like 5,000 plus on a lot of these things. I can't wait to see the ratings come in for this show if it ever gets reported on, which it probably won't, because guess what? A lot of people aren't watching it, and those of us that did tune in, yeah, you pretty much put a bad taste in our mouth right from the very beginning, James Gunn. Wow, genius. I guess you weren't lurking when we said, make the fans happy, because not only did you decide to not go stick by the actual source material, which is all we ever asked for, you decided to also warp and change the backstory of characters just so you could own the right-wingers out there. I hope it was worth it, James. But needless to say, a lot of fans aren't happy. It's besides just that first entry to 30 seconds out here, because Matt McGloin, as he points out, there's a lot of other people out here that are saying, hey, guess what? Turns out James Gunn really is just a one-trick pony and he can't do anything else. Same plot as the Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't waste your time. This show doesn't offer anything new. If you're going to watch this thinking this is a new show, don't waste your time, as this is the 4th or 5th project that James Gunn has had that's made similar to the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy, where a rag team of unknown characters come together to take down a villain and then become friends while spitting extremely low IQ teenage jokes. I hope James Gunn will write something original in the future that is not targeted for his teenager fans on X. Like I said, literally the bang in the bathroom, boys and girls, the bang in the bathroom. With the exception of Flag and G.I. Robot, which I like G.I. Robot. He's pretty based. He's one of the actual bright spots out of this series. He's just a World War II robot that just wants to go out there and kill Nazis. And I mean, honestly, considering the fact that they were socialist Marxists, I think we can all probably definitely relate to him at some point in this series out here. So who are likable characters. Everything else is, to put it mildly, debatable. There is no scene that is not stupid. And Polkistan, with rich Balkan history, that's the best Gunn could come up with. Give me a break. The expected cringe fest, to say the least. Same old silly humor from James Gunn. Almost feels like he is Rick Flag Sr. Not a great way to start a new universe with a complete repeat of Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker gives me less hope for Superman, unfortunately. And it just goes on and on and on and on, boys and girls. And like I said, I watched this show. I was cautiously optimistic about this show. I dragged one of my friends into watching this show with me. Fortunately enough, we both had plenty of alcohol on hand to actually soothe our souls after all of that series was over, because guess what? If this is what the future of James Gunn's DCU is going to be all about, well, David Zaslav, you definitely better get this whole series, get the whole of Warner Brothers and DC ready to sell off, because this is going to be nothing more than an absolute flop and a disastrous dumpster fire going forward. So am I going to continue watching Creature Commandos? Yes, unfortunately I am, because I actually want to see if any of this stuff kind of gets retconned. I want to give it a chance, because like I said, I am still a DC fanboy. I want this to be good, but this is not the entry you wanted. How David Zaslav watched these first couple episodes, maybe he didn't, how he watched these first couple episodes and did not request an immediate change, I have no idea. Maybe it's because animation is too expensive. Maybe it's because it takes too long to work out. I have no idea. But boys and and girls, if this is what the rest of the DCU is going to end up being like, pulling all of the same bullshit nonsense jokes that have obviously flopped and failed and blown up in everybody's faces over the last few years, out there owning the chuds, who turns out all of those crazy right-wingers and all of those chuds out there make up the majority of the population in the United States. Don't believe me? Check out the last election, boys and girls, because this is the kind of old drag nonsense garbage that we have seen happen time and time again. And it's one of those things. Could I get past it if it was just that? If it was just another stupid liberal out of Hollywood being another stupid liberal having their own stupid opinions and takes? Yes. But at the exact same time, there's nothing else redeeming in the series from what we've seen from the first 2 episodes. Am I going to give it Culture Casino's chance of a third one? Yes. But as far as I'm concerned, this show is rotten, is absolutely rotten. Rotten to the freaking core. The jokes are cheesy and bad. It's college level. It's like toilet level kind of college humor out there. It's something you would see from a bunch of teenage boys or a bunch of college guys or a bunch of dorm rats out there in the military. I mean, this is the kind of garbage trash you would see from that kind of stuff. It's the exact same kind of BS we have seen time and time again. It's poor writing. It's bad cinematography. Well, the cinematography, actually, the art style is actually really, really nice. I will give it that. The art style is really nice, and the intro and the outro tunes, the kind of intro and all that kind of stuff, they're kind of catchy. I can dig it. I like some of the music in this series. I think some of the scores are done well. Sunker didn't really like them, but that's okay because I did. And guess what? Contrary to popular belief, friends don't actually have to agree with everything. We're not a cult, unlike the people that made stuff like this. James Gunn, I hope it made you feel good to own the chuds in your new series out there. But I have some new information, if you couldn't tell, from the election that just happened. The chuds are now in charge. All them evil right-wingers, it turns out, yes, we're actually the ones that make you the money. We're actually the ones that decide whether or not things are good or not. And you have decided to start off your new DCU by pissing all over the people that are now in charge. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. By the way, if you don't have anything else to do, don't watch Creature Commandos. You're better off watching paint dry.